Today on Larry King Now, country music sensations, the band Perry.
I feel like we're an American sound. Our dad loved rock and roll, and our mom loved everything from Motown to Michael Jackson to country. So I think we're a perfect blend of, Mama and Papa Perry.
On new music.
We've recorded 7 songs at the moment, and now we're taking some time.
Pioneer was such a passion project in the sense that we were, consumed by it 24/7 and really kind of, crying and bleeding over it. Whereas this album is just more a sense of fun, and just making sure everything just feels right.
Plus.
Sometimes I'll play the lead singer trump card though, and it's like, I am not gonna sing. I have certain words that I just don't want to sing.
What's a word you don't like?
Hurricane. I don't like singing the word hurricane or butterfly. Those two I just...
Rainbows is also nice.
I can't do rainbows.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guests, the band Perry, comprised of siblings Kimberly, Reid, and Neil Perry. They were named ACM Vocal Group of the Year at this year's 49th Academy of Country Music Awards and Group of the Year at the CMT Music Awards. On September 9th, they'll perform on CBS's Fashion Rocks, airing at 9 p.m. Eastern. And they're currently touring with our guy, Blake Shelton, on his 10 Times Crazier tour, which comes to Los Angeles on October 4th at the humongous Hollywood Bowl. Thanks for joining. What's been the highlight for you this year, Kim?
We've had so many. I will say the ACM Awards back in April was a really special night for us. It was the first time that we've won Group of the Year in country. And, we actually celebrate 16 years in October since our first show.
An overnight hit.
Like this song. So that was a huge honor, just to know that all the blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into over a decade, is beginning to pay off.
You're just coming off your Pioneers tour, right? Mm-hmm. What was that like?
It was great. We spent a month over in Europe back in November, so we were playing everywhere from Scandinavia to the UK. And then we were up in Canada. Wow. And during the polar vortex of January and February. We got negative 40 degrees in Sudbury. And then we brought it back to the States in March and finished it up then, and then have been doing the Blake Shelton tour and fairs and festivals ever since.
Let me get the pecking order. Kimberly is the oldest?
Yes.
Yes.
You look the youngest.
Well,
she acts it too.
I act it, Larry, but...
And Reid is the middle?
Yeah, fearless.
And you're the baby, Neil.
Yes.
Huh?
They save the best for last.
How did you decide to become a group?
Well, being the oldest in the family, I started the first band of this bunch. I was 15 years old, and my little high school sweetheart played bass guitar, and they needed a lead singer, a bunch of my buddies in high school. And so they knew that I liked to sing a little bit and invited me to be a part of the band. And it just sort of stuck. And Reid and Neil, we would always rehearse with my high school buddies in our living room. And so Reid and Neil would have been 8 and 10 years old at the time. And so every time our drummer and our bass player would take a water break, Reid and Neil would jump on the drum kit and the bass guitar. And so all of a sudden, the 3 of us were even playing music in our living room while I was supposed to be practicing with the other band, and became very clear that eventually the family band was the end goal.
You both guitarists, though, right? Well, you all play guitar, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Kimberly is the lead vocalist, and she plays acoustic guitar and piano. Reid's the bass player and BGVs, background vocals, and I play mandolin. And I started out as the drummer, but now I play mandolin and I sing background vocals.
And accordion.
I play accordion.
Oh, was it like touring overseas?
It's crazy. We would tell jokes from stage, and there'd be nothing just because they didn't understand English, but they would sing every single word back to you in English. So that was interesting. We did blame it on Kimberly's jokes. We said they just weren't that funny.
Well, and the energy over there, too. The crowds over there were some of the most energetic we've ever played for, and I think there's just something about that culture that just appreciates music so much. Like, we were over near where the Beatles were from, Liverpool. We were like, we can see how Beatlemania came from here just because they appreciate music and soak it in.
And they all know your music?
Yeah, and the spirit of the folks there. That was, I think, the coolest thing, is just to see how different parts of the world respond to music.
I don't understand. You're a big hit. You're the group of the year. Why do you have to open? Blake Shelton, you're not an opening act.
Well, we love Blake Shelton. We got to do The Voice with him earlier this year. And in the process of him inviting us to do The Voice, he said, hey, doing this tour this summer. Would you come out and open up? And so I think our mindset really is twofold. So we've done our own headlining tour, our first one this year. But I think that it's also very important to us that we continue to grow our fan base. And so our mentality when we're opening for a guy like Blake is to not only support him and his show, but to try and win some of the hearts of his fans out there as well.
Speaking of opening acts, Jake Owen was our guest recently, and he was an opening act for some famous singers. Here's what he had to say about being an opening act. Watch.
As an opening act, all you want to do is absolutely crush every other person that you're playing with, and you want to step on the headliner. You want to make the headliner look...
Really? Finally,
yeah.
someone admits that.
Yeah, you want to... yeah, of course, if anyone's ever admitted that, they're lying. But if you're an opening act, all you want to do is go out there and completely try to one-up the guy whose name's on the ticket.
Okay. You agree with that? You think he was kidding me, or you feel that way?
There is a competitive spirit among artists. It's just the truth. But I think the artists that we've had the opportunity to go out with, everybody from Keith Urban to Brad Paisley, we're a trio, so we're kind of a different entity, and I think that we're just always bringing an individual flavor to the night.
But you want to kill, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, there is that exciting competitive nature about the whole thing, and even at award shows and stuff too. It's like when another band has a great song, we'll tease each other. We're like, how'd you get that song and we didn't?
But we're competitive with each other too. It's just, I think it's something that's innate in all of us as entertainers.
I mean, we're even big question askers, so a big job for us as the opening act is to watch the headliner. How have they, been able to achieve such success that they've had, whether it was on stage or off stage, or how they're
So you're learning all the
backstage.
time.
Going to school.
We did. We always ask questions, even from the very beginning. We read a bunch and
What took so
watched.
long before your first album? Your first album was just 4 years ago, right?
Well, that was our
It was
first.
called The Band Perry.
It was our first release on a label, but like I said, we had been touring for about a decade before that. And in the beginning, touring for us meant, playing Queen songs and Rolling Stone songs in sweaty little clubs at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so we definitely paid our dues, and then eventually learned to write songs. We recorded an independent album that the world has not heard and will never hear right before we signed our record deal. The last song that we had written for that independent album was If I Die Young. And that was the first song that we were like, you know what, this is one of our kingpins and beginning to build this
Is that
career
what
for
made
the
you?
public. I think it was our giant hello. It definitely was the one that opened the door wide open for the band Perry.
What was it like all the struggling years?
What was it? The book Outliers said that you have to work, 10,000 hours at something to get great at it or even get competent. And so, we felt like that those 12 years were our 10,000 hours. We're always really goal-oriented, so I feel like if we saw something in the distance, we were fine working however hard or however long. But it was interesting. There were times when there were more people on stage than in the crowd, which is not a joke. I mean, that is true, and those 2 kids were begging to go home.
But we put our whole heart into it.
We did.
then, and
26 songs.
Playing the Ramada Inn at the south side of town.
Yes.
Being a part of the country music family next when we come back. We're back with the band Perry. Country music is always so close to its fans, right? And close to each other. It's competitive but non-competitive. Everybody likes each other. How do you explain that?
Well, I do think that country music, as you said, begins and ends with the fan. And for us here in the band Perry, we believe country music's the people's music. I mean, the songs are about everyday life and the struggles and the romances and all that we all go through. And, I think the family of country music artists is a special thing because we're all championing the fan and the song. It's a genre that appreciates a well-written story. And I think that is the tie that binds us together creatively as artists.
Well, and the genre of country music too is very generous too. You've got things like Country Cares. They go to St. Jude Hospital, and in June,
The fans easily.
yes, and in June we have this gigantic festival called CMA Fest, and it's amazing. People from all over the world come to Nashville on like 1 week in June.
Yes.
Yes, and that's really amazing to see. There's no fan base like country music fans.
How would you, Reid, describe your sound?
I feel like we're an American sound. Our dad loved rock and roll, and our mom loved everything from Motown to Michael Jackson to country. So I think we're a perfect blend of, Mama and Papa Perry, and so therefore we'll pull from everywhere. Our live shows are very, rock and roll themed and influenced, as we have a lot of traditional instrumentation of country music. But we will put a modern
And that's
spin
the
on
country
it.
music umbrella these days. It's like with the, sadly, the death of rock radio, it's almost like country is the last rock radio frontier. But we also experiment with some urban beats and that sort of thing. There's a lot of cross-pollination between urban music and country as well right now, and I think it's exciting. I think every day you see genre lines blurring more and more, and that is even the spirit of country.
It's mainstream now, too, right?
Yeah.
You're going to perform on Fashion Rocks on September 9th. How did that come about?
Well, our publicist brought that opportunity to us, and we were really excited about that. And, I think one thing that the three of us love, not only the music side of what we do, but also the visuals of what we do. So to do Fashion Rocks and also kind of pay tribute to the other side of what we do, the fashion side, that's really exciting for us. And
What
Kimberly,
do you do on the fashion side?
Well, I'm super excited
Kimberly
about
loves
Fashion
that.
Rocks as the girl in the band. And, like Neil said, he's probably the most visual one of the three of us. But we really feel like what we look like on the outside is an extension of our music. Sometimes you'll see all three of us in black leather. When we had our song out Done on the radio, it was like the black leather era for the band Perry. And on our song now Chainsaw, we're in this 90s grunge mood all of a sudden.
Do you know what designer you'll be
We
performing?
don't yet.
No, and that
What
actually is going to decide.
You sing with the design.
Yeah.
They walk down.
Yes.
And that'll decide what song we play. So if it is black leather, it'll probably be Done.
Yeah, but if it's moody, it'll
Yeah,
be Better Dig 2.
or something like that.
Yeah,
You guys, you're married, right?
I am.
Yes.
Your husband's,
2 whole months already.
Both
He's
ways.
a Texas Ranger, yes, sir.
what's his name?
JP Aaron Sebia. It's a mouthful.
Where is that from?
So JP is from Miami, and his parents were both of Cuban descent. So we call him our Cuban cowboy.
You get to be with each other. You're on the road. He's with the Rangers, right?
We get to spend more time in the off season, which is really the beautiful thing. We're going to have 5 full months of a lot of time together. But we pick and choose our moments. Reid has this mantra that we just kind of make life happen on the go here in the band Perry. And so, life has to move on
Are
alongside
you the
our
only
career.
married one?
yes. She
And
is.
I noticed that Ma and Pa Perry are with you.
They are with us
Are
today.
you very close?
They just
with
wanted to meet you, Larry.
Yeah, they did.
They can't just. That's
Yeah.
very
It wasn't anything
understandable.
to do
be all-
with us.
Very due to the age group, right?
They're almost the fourth and fifth invisible members of the band Perry, just because they were at
what
the
way?
very first show with us. Mom drove a motorhome full of 16 kids, and Dad set up all the gear from the
Back
very
in the
beginning.
day.
And so even
What do you mean,
now,
16 kids.
well, 2 bands, none of us could drive, and so there were about 16 of us on the road between her band and Neil's and mine.
Knowing families as I do, and being the father of boys, do you two fight?
No more than I guess in between any of us siblings.
What's the
no
age
more than
difference?
normal.
So I'm 5 years older than Reid, and they're about 2 years apart.
2 years apart, yeah.
2 years, you had a fight when you were kids.
all
Yeah,
the
I mean,
time.
we had spats, yeah. Our dad would have to come in and say, look, Reid, you're on this side of the room, Neil, and you're on this side, don't cross this invisible line. And so we had a lot of those kind of talks, yeah.
But I will say that our parents, it was very important for all 3 of us, for them to instill in us a sense of graciousness to each other when we were kids. Now, sometimes they instilled that by grounding us. Or Reid, they would just take a dollar bill away from Reid because he would only respond to money being taken away from him. But, I think so much of that early instruction, they would always carry us over to the window. If we were fighting, and they would say, there's a world out there you're going to fight in every day. We're not going to do it underneath this roof. Here's where we support, and here's where we love. And we really carried those values with us into the band Perry.
When is a new album coming? We'll find out next. We're back with the band Perry. Okay, you're currently working on your 3rd album, and you're touring as well, right? So when is that going to come?
Well, we are in the studio right now. We've recorded 7 songs at the moment, and now we're taking some time to go on the road, play shows, and write, and come up with the best songs we can for the next batch of recording we're about to do. And it's really exciting. I think the album's finally taking on some perspective and some kind of direction. So it's really cool to kind of have some firm ground underneath us.
You've said that Pioneers, your second album, was a lot more difficult than the first album, the debut album, The Band Perry. Is this going to be more difficult than Pioneer?
You know, I don't think so. You know, there's so much pressure on the sophomore album, and during that process, we were having to figure out the science of writing while we were on the road. This time, it's a lot easier. We're taking time off from the road to write and record, and you know, Pioneer was such a passion project in the sense that we were, you know, consumed by it 24/7 and really kind of, you know, crying and bleeding over it. Whereas this album is just more a sense of fun, yeah, and just making sure everything just feels right going.
This is going to be very different from the other two?
It will, in the sense that I think, you know, there's a lot of spirit, like Reid said, of fun and a lot of energy into this project. And I'm excited to start trying them out live and just see how they hit our fans, because when we record an album, we're always thinking about how it's going to play.
Do you try them out before you record?
Sometimes we do.
Sometimes we will, yeah. We definitely play and come up with arrangements during sound check before the show, but once in a while, if we're feeling extra courageous, we'll try it out in an audience, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they like it.
Give me the writing process when three people are writing. I know that a lot of duos write and people individually write, but how do you write the three of you?
All different ways. I mean, right now, and it's very much an evolution for us. Right now, Neil will bring in a musical idea. Maybe that's on the mandolin, maybe that's on acoustic guitar, maybe it's a drum beat and a synthesizer. And usually that initial musical idea will start kicking around some melodies. And we always sort of sit in a writer's circle.
So the music's first?
Music's first, melody comes second, lyrics come third for us. But we all just sort of pile these ideas on top of each other, and eventually a song is born there.
Is there a lead writer?
You know, it kind of depends on what part of the song we're talking about or who's influenced the song. Normally, whoever brings in the idea will kind of take lead on it. So whether it is a musical idea or lyrical idea, it just kind of varies.
Sometimes I'll play the lead singer trump card, though, and it's like, I am not going to sing. I have certain words that I just don't want to sing. I just don't like certain
It's an ever-evolving list.
What's a word you don't like?
Okay, I mean, it's an
Give me
okay
a word.
Hurricane. I don't like singing the word hurricane or butterfly. Those two, I just...
Rainbows is also nice.
I can't do rainbows.
I love it, too. Sometimes whenever Kimberly throws out an idea and Reid and I don't like it, we're like, Kimberly, I don't like that idea. Kimberly's like, well, y'all come up with something better. And she'll sit back and let us...
Now, how did Done, you wrote Done together, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. I remember we were shooting the music video for Better Dig 2, and I had my banjo. And as we were in between takes, I just started doodling around on the banjo, pulled out my iPhone, and I recorded a little banjo lick. And then we later went to a writing room, and Done came out in a day. And it was actually the last song we wrote for Pioneer.
Definitely.
Yes, so I think it was kind of our way of saying we're finished recording.
You wrote If I Die Young, right? What was the idea behind that?
You know, it was
kind of morbid.
Well, a little bit. It depends on how you think of it. Really, for me, it came out of...
morbid?
For me, it came out of a sense of contentment. And I remember the day when I originally got the idea. I was sitting on my bed in my bedroom in East Tennessee, surrounded by beautiful mountains, and I just started thinking, you know, if for whatever reason I died today, what would my funeral look like? So I know that sounds morbid, but for me it was about saying, you know, I feel like I've done everything that I've wanted to do so far, and there's a long road ahead, hopefully. But if it all ended today, am I content with how I've loved everybody? Am I content with what I've done with my moments so far? And I really was, and so If I Die Young was that expression of contentment.
The act itself, is there, who talks to the audience the most, or do you all talk to them?
We all three talk.
We all three talk,
We all three have very different senses of humor. Reid's kind of the dry, humored cynic of the bunch. Neil's just like the lovable baby of the bunch. And I don't really know what my...
You're kind
You're
of...
everything a big sister is, in a complimenting way.
Bossy is what you're saying.
Yeah, you're bossy.
Sure, we'll say that.
So I think that comes across
Yeah.
live even.
How do you guys like your ball-playing brother-in-law?
Oh, he's good. You know, everyone asked, well, do you like him? And we said, yeah, you know, Kimberly wouldn't marry him if we didn't approve, so.
And hey, we
he's
get
good.
free tickets to baseball games. That's not that
And
bad.
How'd you meet him?
Well, JP actually walked through a signing line in a meet and greet before one of our shows, and I thought that it was just that serendipitous, but apparently for a couple years, actually, when he saw the If I Die Young music video, he told his buddy who he was with, he was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. And so it took him a couple years to really really find his way organically into the sphere of the band Perry. But it was a special thing when he
Did he have to court your brothers too?
Oh yes, they all went on a boys' vacation
Yes.
a couple of winters ago.
Yeah.
What would Kimberly, Reid, and Neil say are each other's quirks? Stay with us and find out. We're back with the band Perry. Before we get to some social media questions, what's Celebrate My Drive?
Celebrate My Drive is a celebration that we've partnered up with to put on with State Farm. And basically, Celebrate My Drive is doing exactly that. For new drivers in high school, it's celebrating the freedoms of the road and this brand new experience that is driving, but it's also putting a spotlight on the responsibility that comes along with that. It's all about 2 hands on the wheel, 2 eyes on the road.
And don't text.
Don't text
Yes.
us.
Text.
Yes.
We have some social media questions for you. TBP and T Swift fan tweets. What's the best part about being in a band with your siblings?
You know, I think it's that we know each other so well.
Yes.
We understand that we're all kind of after the same thing and that our commitment is exactly the same to this music thing that we've all dived into.
And we've got each other's backs too. That's another thing.
There's a Pioneering Perry on Twitter. What hair products do you use?
Oh, goodness. Well,
Where'd that
Where do
come
you
from?
begin?
I mean, you know, hair is the superpower
It is.
of the band Perry, and so this is a very important question. Oribe, actually, is what I use, and what do you guys think?
Whatever's in the
Guess
hotel.
Pantene, I don't know.
Jess on Instagram. What was your first big purchase when you made it big?
Well, JP and I actually just purchased about 180 acres in East Tennessee, so that's exciting.
I got a car. I got a Hummer, so.
A Hummer, big one or a little one?
The big one, the H1.
Biggest you can
It's a
get.
tank.
Yeah, I love it.
Good gas mileage.
Yes, great gas mileage.
At MT McBride, who has helped you most in your careers?
You know, I probably would say our parents, just because I think.
Who's your favorite band?
Queen.
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 Ashley West on Instagram. Best gift you've gotten from a fan?
Okay, so right now we are starting to get all these Polaroid pictures from our fans.
Yes.
And we've started to assemble them on all the walls in our tour bus. That's one of our favorite things lately.
You like the tour bus?
We do.
We love the tour bus.
It's our apartment
Do you
on wheels.
fly?
A little bit.
Yeah, we prefer to drive.
Really?
Yeah, you can sleep.
Austin Kelly on Facebook. What's your favorite song to perform live?
Oh, goodness. I think it changes from night to night. Right now, we have a song called Chainsaw that's out on the radio. And to get into the song live, we do a mashup of Kesha and Pitbull's Timber with our Chainsaw. And the crowd flips out over that moment.
That's a
My
fun
favorite.
moment of the show, yeah. It's really exciting.
Neil also does a rendition of Fat Bottom
He
Girls,
does.
though, that you've got here.
Again, we love Queen, so we have to honor Freddie Mercury.
At Katie 81 KMK, your favorite and least favorite things about going on tour?
Least favorite thing would probably have to be the pile of laundry that collects on every single run, and then you have so much laundry to do.
It's
when you
pretty
get home.
bad at the end of a run.
Favorite thing?
Favorite thing.
Probably, you know, traveling, going overseas. That's a really cool thing, going to a
You had
bunch
to
of...
fly there.
You do have to fly there.
You didn't take the bus over there?
No, no.
No, okay. And now a game of If You Only Knew. What's a superpower you'd like to have?
Flying.
I wish I had gills.
Really?
You.
Go underwater.
Yeah,
You
that's
could
amazing.
swim. I could swim
I
to
would want to
Europe.
be invisible. I would eavesdrop on
too.
every conversation.
Oh, invisible. Yeah, me too. I do other things. Yeah. Quirky characteristic. What's his quirk?
Okay, Reid is the cheapest one of the three of us. He actually has a computer that doesn't even have a battery in it, but he won't purchase another one. He's lost the battery, so he has to plug it into the wall
Every single
to
time.
make it functional because he won't.
But it
spend any
still
money.
works.
And again, his punishment growing up wasn't like, you know, I guess spanking or grounding. It was always,
Give me a
your
dollar."
dollar. And that still works today.
What's your quirk?
What is my quirk?
Neil.
Okay, sometimes Neil can't decide in an interview which word he's going to go with to describe something. So we were in this one interview one time where
Where are you going with
he
this?
mentally couldn't decide between quirky,
Quirky.
and whimsical, so he decided on quimsical.
Yeah.
So he's our word inventor.
Sometimes
And what's
we'll
her
have to
quirk?
do it. It takes her about 5 minutes to swallow pills. And it's like a full-on, like, beat her chest to get that pill down on.
It's like, and she always, before she takes like vitamins or whatever, she always has to have someone who knows
Yeah.
the Heimlich maneuver in the room.
just in case.
True,
It's
you
pretty
never know.
sad.
Who's the messiest on tour?
Kimberly.
Kimberly, look at her hair.
Organized chaos, Larry.
Who's the quickest to come up with the catchy lyric?
I think probably Reid, and I would say
Probably Reid.
it's his sense of humor He's very dry and a bit of a cynic. And
Which song gets the craziest fan reaction?
If I Die Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music your fans would be surprised you listen to.
Oh, the Sound of Music soundtrack.
Well, lately too, we've been listening.
You are kidding, right?
No, I'm really not. There's
Good melody in it.
Yeah,
And
I like it.
we've been listening to this style of hip hop and urban music right now called trap. And we've all of a sudden got so hungry to find every single trap programmer we can possibly locate.
Is trap a form of music or an act?
It
It's
is
a
a
trap
form of
form.
music. It's a beat form.
from the South, yeah.
And what do you listen to?
Gosh, anything from rap to country to pop, whatever I'm in the mood for.
Someone you'd love to collaborate with?
Justin Timberlake, I think, would be at the top of our wish list.
Yeah.
First song you learned to play?
First song I learned to play was The Ocean by Led Zeppelin. I started out as the drummer, and I loved John Bonham was like my hero, so I learned that one.
Another one bites the dust.
Something on piano that I'm sure had something to do with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Favorite subject in high school, not including music?
Literature for me. Huge lit fan.
History.
Math.
That's not
They were
true.
like puzzles.
I don't even
Yeah,
believe
right.
that.
No,
He just
seriously.
thought that would be the
He thought it was a
smart.
smart-
Arithmetic.
Yes.
What era would you, what era would you like to go back to and visit?
I think for me it would be when my grandparents were in high school, which would have been the late 40s, which I know was a difficult time of recovery in our country. But I would love to see how our family story originated and to sort of be a
Where
fly
were
on
you
the
in high
wall
school?
in
What state?
Mississippi, deep south.
That's why you didn't pick the Civil War.
1860s.
Yeah, you'd go back to 1860.
Civil War. I love the Civil War, so
You
fascinating.
want to fight in it?
That or just see what's all going on.
He's our history
Then
buff.
for me, the golden age of Hollywood. Everything looked great in black and white. I would just love to go back there.
Yeah,
You know, it really wasn't black and white in the 50s.
In real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
If you were a wrestler, what would your name be?
Scary Perry.
Reid Hogan.
Reid Hogan.
Because that's your middle name?
Because, like,
Oh.
Hulk Hogan.
Not named after that wrestler, but yeah, it is.
I love it. I would have to be Cherry Valance, who is my favorite heroine in all of literature, and maybe from the outside.
Cherry Perry.
Cherry Perry.
Cherry
It
Perry.
works too.
What's harder, remembering lyrics or music?
Lyrics.
Lyrics for her. For me,
She's the lead singer and she has trouble remembering
one time
lyrics.
she
Wow.
forgot lyrics and she looked to me to help her out, the background vocalist, and I didn't do it. I was laughing so hard.
You guys are a delight. Thanks very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much
The
for having me.
Band Perry, I want to thank my guests Kimberly, Reid, and Neil. The Band Perry, make sure you see them on tour with Blake Shelton, and you can watch them perform on CBS's Fashion Rocks on September 9th at 9 Eastern. You can find me on Twitter at Kings Things. I'll see you next time.